19 of Big Game Talk. We're back at it after a week off, and we understand there's a lot going on in the world right now, and if you need an escape from it, we're here to provide that. We're just kind of an escape from the real world. We're going to bullshit about sports. We don't really know what we're talking about, but that's half the fun of it. So we're going to an episode, we're going to talk about MLB. We're going to mostly talk about UFC, especially last night's card, and we're going to have some fun with it.
And timestamps are in the description down below on the podcast and on the YouTube. If you're looking for that specific sport that you like to hear about and you don't want to hear about the other sports, just timestamps in the description down below. So find the sports content you're looking for or watch it all the whole way through. We'd love to have you.
Sounds good. Hit the music. All right, everybody. So normally we start off with the quarantine update here, so nothing much changed in my life. How about you?
Not much. Just keeping on plugging away at the grocery store. And the other day, actually, I helped my friend move out of his apartment. Now that Ontario
social distancing, tisk.
Hey, this is the government said I could, because now you can have up to 10 people at your house from 2 households, and it was 2 of us from 2 households. It was kosher. It was all kosher, Brad. But it's still, at the same time, I felt like I was doing something wrong. Here I was helping a friend out, pat myself on the back if I do say so myself, but still, I felt bad. I felt guilty, like I was going out, sneaking out to do something illegal.
Well, everywhere's got different, like even like the rule sets and everything. Like I've went golfing twice since this started. The first place I went to, they had like even just the little things like the cup that it was pushed up. So the ball didn't go in and you have to reach in. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I feel good about this.
Wait, so you just have to kind of hit it?
Yeah. And then the second place I went to, they didn't do that. So every time I would stick my hand in there, I just felt so uncomfortable. I'm getting the Rona. And then you're out there just moving couches with people.
Yeah, But hey, yeah. Every business seems to be figuring out as they go along. Like I know working at the grocery store, we're like a new policy comes every week, and it's just customers are upset as they figure out this new thing, and like we're just trying to figure it out. So yeah, and the government even everybody's trying to just figure this is unprecedented territory that we've entered in and shutting the world down, and now we're unprecedented territory and opening it up again. So interesting times to say the least.
For sure. And now we're a little late to the news, but the NHL and NBA are coming back. I'm sure anybody who's listened to this has seen the very strange formats that they're coming out with. The NHL, just everybody's allowed to play in for the playoffs, and the NBA kind of went it with the we want Zion Williamson a part of this method. So good for them. And like I said, I'm sure everybody's seen this news, so we're not going to go into detail about it. But I mean, MLB here, one of our favorite sports.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I'm getting very fed up. Because they've had a plan almost every week for the last like month and a half. They've just new plan. We're getting excited.
I feel like, wasn't it like episode 10? We were talking about a plan that they had to come back.
and everything is just like, nope, we're throwing it up. Nope, not going to work. Throwing up, not going to work. Now there's 2 plans that are going on right now. The players have a plan and the MLB has a plan. And now that it's split into 2, like, because originally it was just the MLB releasing stuff. Now the players union have a plan, the MLB has a plan, and they're radically different. And like in terms of player pay, how many games? I think the like players plan is like 55 games or something like, or maybe that's the MLB. One of them.
Yeah, I think it was the owner's plan. Yeah.
Has 55 games. So we've been promised, like MLB's saying, like 100 games, like the projections every time has been around 100 games. Now it's 50 games. They can't get on the same page. You got like guys like Blake Snell, who's out there saying, I might die from coronavirus. I'm putting my life on the line here. Some of these players need to kind of sit back and say, okay, what do I play the game for? Meanwhile, the minor leagues have been slashed in half. There's countless amounts of players that have now lost their livelihoods, lost their chance at playing professional baseball. They got to find new careers now that's not as glamorous as playing professional baseball because of all this corona stuff. And then you have the players on the top in the MLB saying, well, we need more money just to play. So it's just so sad to see what's going on in the MLB. And
I understand. I completely understand here. And like, I get what you're saying. Like, and it's a not good look for the players to be asking for more money when everybody else is losing money. It's not a good look, but it's also like, it's not, the players aren't taking the money out of somebody else's pocket. Like, that is the same level as them. They're taking it out of the owners who are billionaires, who are saying, like, I want to keep all of my money and give you none.
Yeah,
like that's, and it's not like I say, that's not as simple as that. But it's the
but
owners
they're
can
losing.
afford this.
How much money are the owners lose? Can they?
Okay,
Like,
but here's the thing: like, the players have agreed to take, like, no player is saying I want my full paycheck, because that would just be, if they are, that's just stupid.
Agreed. They've already agreed to pay cuts, but
Yeah.
still, I mean,
So you're getting a pay cut. You're getting a pay cut. Yeah, the owners need to get on the same page, because the players have agreed to a pay cut, and then they want just take more. Well, at some point, you guys say honor something from the contract, because if a player goes out there on a minimum deal and just lights it up, nobody's going to go give them more. So when you turn the tables and now they're not going to be producing and earning as much, they're still got to get that paycheck.
I guess that's fair. I get that, but the thing is, like, it's late. This is like, this feels,
the longer they wait, the less money on either side.
It feels like we're back in high school and we're getting an assignment to get a group project together, and we wait till the last day, and everybody's saying, well, we're going to do a PowerPoint, and other people saying, no, we're going to do an essay, and everybody's trying to get still trying to get on the same page. And I mean, the draft is this week. It was supposed to be, we were supposed to have the draft, and then we were supposed to get the spring training started, and then have a season in a month. That was that was what, maybe not what we were promised, but it's what MLB was dangling in front of us to keep itself relevant. And now all that talk
goes, the further this goes, the more people get upset, and the more money gets lost, the more people get upset, and their brand and reputation gets tarnished.
And then if this stuff is still going on, and there's NBA games to watch, and there's NHL games to watch, you toast. MLB's already in a situation where they're losing the competition to the NBA. They're already losing. Like, it's not a direct competitor normally. They're not in the same, but now the NBA is moving their season to when the MLB, that's the prime time dog days of summer baseball. So NBA is kind of, they're just going to steal all this stuff from MLB, and MLB is just sitting back and arguing amongst itself. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they took a really prime opportunity to showcase, be able to come back, be one of the first to come back, and they just fucked it up. Like, there's no other way to put it. And they're just going to keep fucking it up, and they're going to keep ruining their reputation. And you could, like, if things really get out of hand, I'd honestly wouldn't be surprised if there is an MLB season this year. If there's not, because agreed on both sides, it's going to be like the 94 strike, where a lot of fans struggle to come back, and there's going to be long-term repercussions. You look at, like, all these other leagues are like, the NHL is getting expansion teams, for Christ's sakes. Like, and the NBA is flourishing, the NFL is flourishing, and the MLB, like, there's teams that have payrolls that are not even as big as some major players' contracts. Like, you're looking at the MLB is struggling.
And think about the timeline too. Pre-corona, all anyone was talking about was the Astros, and how the Astros just ruined the credibility of the World Series. So then to get away from that, so then all of a sudden there's no sports news on, and that's the taste in our mouth surrounding MLB is the Astros stuff. So then we're kind of chewing on that still, because there's no other sports news. Rob Manfred, I guess, sitting around, he says, well, we got to get MLB in the news for a positive thing. Let's look like we're leading the charge to bring sports back. Let's put out a proposal a week. And now he's got egg on his face, because none of this stuff has panned out. It's all talk. And so now you've been like, we're like the pig, and Rob Manfred's sitting there with the carrot on the stick, and he's been leading us. And now all of a sudden he's like, oh, actually, I don't have a carrot.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's ridiculous. It's
not a great timely reference either, but it's all good.
What?
It's all good. The listeners will pick it up. But right. Yeah, the MLB is you gotta just figure it out.
Yeah,
it's not that difficult. Just figure it out.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And Like, I know this is old news, but Blake's now coming out and he's saying, "Oh, I might die. I may have lasting. This could affect me. I could get COVID, and it could affect me for the rest of my life." This athlete in the prime of his career. I don't know about this, man.
It's tough, and it's
tough.
and like all these other the kind of niche sports like your UFC, your
Mhm.
NASCAR, your boxing. It's coming back this week. Those sports are going to start surpassing.
Yeah.
And now it's hard to say surpass because those are kind of weekly, once a week
Mhm.
sports, but they're going to start just grabbing the viewers
Well, it's
because that's what
interesting.
people are going to be like. It's on, so people are going to see it.
It's interesting. The sports on the fringes have taken full advantage of this coronavirus. And now UFC has helped that you only have a certain amount of, like, it's not like you're sustaining a season where these guys got to stay healthy. Like, you just got to test a handful of people before one card, and then they fight, and then they leave. Right.
Yep.
So it's easy to come in and come out. Like, most fighters are fighting once a year. Like the ones that made it are once a year. So it's easy. You don't have to you don't have to segregate them out and in Disney World like the NBA is going to do. And you don't have to hide them away from the world and hope that they don't get infected and bring it in. It's a lot easier, but at the same time, these are the fringe sports and they've taken full advantage. Like the way they're set up. I mean, NASCAR, you could say the same thing about NASCAR. I mean, you're in a car, you're isolated. You're wearing, if you're in the pit crew, you're wearing a helmet. That's like a billion times more effective than those cloth masks they give out. So, they had the opportunity came, and Dana White and NASCAR, they took it. And I think this is going to be huge for those two sports.
And all the major sports, like everybody's worried about, like, oh, they're going to pump crowd noise, going to do all this. Like the UFC, they're in literally the Performance Institute last night, where there's like, it's so obvious no fans, and they just like, we're not even going to think about the fans. Like, we're just putting our product out there. NASCAR, you can visually see that there's no fans there. Like, it is super obvious. And they're just like, no, we're just going to put our product out there and just, this is what we're going to have to live with. I mean, if you're like, don't worry about, like, it's weird without the fans. We understand that. We just want to see the product.
I like UFC without fans. I mean, if I had to choose, I would pick fans, but the Apex works pretty well. And it's a very intimate feeling. And it's kind of a cool situation where you can hear everything. Like, you hear the corner, you hear the commentators, and it's interesting how, I mean, the fighters can hear the commentators going, like last or 2 nights ago, Saturday night, UFC 250, when that Hooper guy was fighting, and Cormier made it kind of a, like, he was complimenting him because he was saying, like, when this guy hits puberty, because he's still growing, Hooper, he's a young guy, but he said when he hits puberty, like, he'll be a big guy. Like, and meanwhile, Hooper's there, and I'm pretty sure he got knocked to the ground or something a couple seconds after that. I wonder if he heard that. It's like, what? I mean, I hit puberty 7 years ago. Fuck you, Cormier.
Yeah, exactly. But it's something like, that's one of the things too. If you like the UFC without the fans, and you like the Performance Institute type, this is why next summer when Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series comes back, make sure to watch it, because this is like you're watching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just with, these are all the higher level ones, like when, instead of the prospects, because they have that formula to be able to do without fans. Yeah.
And but I mean, if everybody's saying too, we'll get to the Conor McGregor talk later, but Conor Khabib, we got to wait for Conor and we're going to get into the Conor stuff. But the conversation before Conor tweeted out this stuff, and it probably still is, that we're holding Conor till we have a gate. I mean, the benefit of fighting Khabib and Conor without a gate is that there's nobody to jump into the crowd to beat up,
Yeah, but there'd be a lot less security there to break it up too.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But do you want to get into UFC 250?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's move on.
I mean, already here too. Like, it's sad that, because this is 250 is a pretty big milestone for UFC, and I didn't even clue into it till right before we go to watch it. You mentioned it. Yeah. So I mean, that's solid. I mean, I wonder if they would have done anything different, like without the coronavirus. Like, if they would have tried to really stack the card.
Well, how cool would it have been if we were one ahead? I think I mentioned this to you earlier, but if you were one ahead and the card that they came 249 was 250, and they came back, they returned to have their monumental 250. That would have been great, and that was a stacked card, 249. And but I think the nicest part about 250 was that they had Amanda Nunes on it, one of the best fighters of all time. She could finish her career and be the greatest of all time.
Okay, that's what. Before we get into the results or anything, we say obviously like Amanda Nunes starched Felicia Spencer. Good for Felicia Spencer for surviving, because I don't think there is nobody on the roster, male or female, that would have been able to withstand that other than Felicia Spencer.
I was watching and I didn't withstand that fight. I fell asleep in the beginning.
I don't know how you fell asleep, because it was like, it was one of those ones where Felicia Spencer, like, massive respect to her. Like what she went through in that fight, towels should have been thrown in. That's a whole different conversation, but massive respect to her. But in terms of just Amanda Nunes, like, I think it is extremely clear that the male greatest of all time is George St. Pierre. Female greatest of all time is Amanda Nunes. And there's a very legitimate argument between the two of them who is the pound for pound greatest. Like, I think you can make an argument that Amanda Nunes is pound for pound greatest between genders. I would tend to say, I think GSP, he's had the longer streak. I think you give Amanda Nunes a couple more fights,
I think,
and then she's there.
That's the thing. The intrigue in the conversation is, I think GSP like has her right now, as it is right now. But GSP,
and that's just because of length of time.
GSP is retired, and Nunes is not. She still has lots of fights left. It'll be interesting to see. And I think one of the barriers that Nunes is going to have now in kind of as she enters more and more into that conversation, greatest of all time, who's the GOAT. The hardest thing is the competition is very different among men and women, right? The competition, just the amount of, like, I'm not saying put two people together, but I'm saying
for sure,
the pool of possible people that you could be fighting, it's very different. And I think that's what Nunes is going to have. I think the women's divisions are going to have to see some more people kind of rise to the top for Nunes to beat. And I think, the next fight for me, I know there's some weight class to, like, who's going to go up, who's going to go down, like whatever. But I think she's got to fight the bullet.
But you say that. Somebody brought that up to Dana White after the fight. He's like, she's already beat her twice. Why would I do that again? And like, that's the thing. And it's like, true. But the thing is, like, they, especially for us as kind of like, we're not new MMA fans, but we're kind of newer. Like, those fights seem like so long ago, and they don't feel like part of this reign.
And Shevchenko is very different fighter. She's changed a lot since then.
Well, but the thing is, like, she's a 125er, and moving up to 135 puts her at such a disadvantage. So it's almost unfair, and there's absolutely no way that Nunes hits 125. They were talking on the broadcast that they think it's going to be tough for her to go back down to 35 after this.
That's true.
And it's like, I really don't, I don't know who's next, because I don't know, like, if you're Nunes, it's hard to get excited for just the next one in line at this point.
Yeah, because Spencer, no shade to her, but we all kind of figured how this fight was going to go to begin with, and like, it's a Jon Jones situation. Other than the Dominic Reyes fight, Jon Jones has become very predictable. All his fights, they kind of seem to happen. There's no wow factor with his fights. He's just doing his time for 5 rounds, getting the points where he needs to be, and getting his hand raised at the end of the night.
But even, like, you say that, like, Jon Jones is, like, having close decisions. Amanda Nunes, like, there's been zero doubt in any of her fights.
That's true.
Like, there is zero doubt. I think right now, and it's like PTSD from the Mayweather-McGregor stuff, but I think Claressa Shields, stud, one of the best female boxers, I think you match them up either in boxing or in MMA. It's likely going to have to be boxing.
It has to be. You can't go boxing to MMA, or you can, but it's a little bit more fair to go MMA to boxing than it is to go from boxing to MMA. Because you've never, like, you've probably been kicked before, but you get a UFC fighter kicking your legs, you're gonna get toppled.
And you even just take it to the ground. Like,
just take it to the ground. You're done.
Yeah. So I think there you go. Nunes, like, you're going to make bank, because I really, like, I think her paychecks aren't, for how good she is, they're not really stacking it up right now.
Yeah.
And, like, it's hard to, like, people aren't interested in seeing you just demolish people. People are interested in close fights.
Intrigue.
And in boxing, that's where the bag comes. So she's going to make the bag. It's going to be, I'm not here to say, I haven't watched Claressa Shields fights. I've only heard about her. I'm not here to say how competitive that fight would be. But you're going to get her the bag. It's going to be intriguing. and people are going to be into it.
And Dana White was behind Conor McGregor, and he made a good amount of money when Conor went to boxing. So they work out a deal like that, and I think everybody wins.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. COVID has to be long done when this
COVID has to be long done. You got to have a gate for that. You have to have a for sure.
You need the gate. Yeah, and then boxing's just coming back this week, so you have to build. And I mean, boxing, you don't really need a good undercard, but it kind of helps.
Yeah. So because it's a long night. Boxing is a long night, so it's
enjoyable. Boxing's a sport where we'll get into all the bullshit going on with UFC right now, but UFC is starting to really, like, the fighters starting to think that they're boxers, and it's getting getting dangerous to the UFC, and it's getting real kind of sickening too. But before we get into that, we want to just
okay. So when it's UFC fighters, it's sickening, but when it's MLB players, it's their right,
I'm gonna defend my points. Just you wait. But do you want to just run through the main card results first?
Let's do that. We keep getting sidetracked. Let's do that. So
the first fight of the night, we had Sean O'Malley starching Eddie Wineland. And I mean, this was pretty expected if you're anybody in the world other than Brock. Yeah, so shout out Brock, who's the only person who thought Wineland was going to win.
You could put $20 on Wineland as straight odds.
Yeah, that was, we had a bet. So for people that don't know, Brock took me at a bet straight, $20 for O'Malley to win. That I had O'Malley, he had Wineland. I'm like, you could take plus 400, but okay, I appreciate it, Brock.
And we kept, before the fight, I was trying to bring it up, and he, like, give him the out, say you're joking, and he just doubled down.
So I mean, we can't trip our number one listener too much.
I'm saying
that was a tough one, Brock.
Mad lad. Like, I had so much respect, and I was gonna say, like, if Wineland won that fight, whatever Brock says is gonna happen, I'm gonna think is gonna happen. After.
But the thing is, like, I got real nervous before the fight started too, because I've seen him, like, we watched it together with him when he said there was like a plus. Can't remember the fighter, but it was like plus 600. He goes, they're gonna win. Oh, it was the Modafferi versus Macy Barber when he called Modafferi winning, and nobody thought that she was winning, and he's just. Yeah, she did. So shout out to Brock.
Shout out to Brock. Brock's pick. So you got to start at Twitter. Everyone, we're gonna win some big money with Brock.
Yeah, next pay-per-view. How about we bring him on and he picks the underdog of the night?
Yeah, underdog. Perfect.
But how about O'Malley?
O'Malley, man,
like he's a stud. And I mean, a lot of people on Twitter were talking about, like, oh, it's like didn't move out of the way, but DC was talking about that slight feint to set it up, and then just the power to put him out.
And just to speak to that feint, like, he was pulling back, to have the power to knock somebody out. He feinted like 3 times. That's that's some crazy amount of power. And just like, because if you're going pulling back, and then it's really just this that's knocking him out. It was really incredible to watch that slow-mo, because you didn't really pick it up in real time.
And Wineland, he was out. And I mean, in the fight game, something that's almost as important as your skill is the swagger. And to just the walk-off knockout, and just, I mean, with the colored hair too, like, he's a stud. And I said before the fight to you, I think he has a McGregor-type run in him if the UFC and him build it like that. And it kind of got stunted with that bullshit suspension from USADA when he just had, like, the picogram shit. And it was quite obvious that he wasn't on PEDs. But if they ride him right, he is going to go on a McGregor-type run.
Oh, yeah. And I think what's missing now is he's a pretty good talker. He can be even better, though. I think he could be even better, like, to get that Conor McGregor, because it's not just with McGregor, it's really the talk doing most of the work. Yeah. And I think that's what, if you want a star like O'Malley, let's say Conor McGregor, we'll get to it, is really done with the UFC. Let's kind of take him at his word for a second for the sake of a thought here and say, okay, Conor, get out of here. You're done. You want to be done, you're done. Now O'Malley, the focus shifts. He's got to work on his, like, he's a pretty good talker. He's pretty good at selling a fight, but he could be even better.
And I think that'll come. That'll come as he keeps getting more fights and he keeps getting more used to it. I think that'll come because like he's good, but he's not great on a mic. You're right. And it like once that comes, he's gonna be the complete package. Yeah. And it'll go in the same like he's obviously not gonna stay at bantamweight for his whole career. No. Because he's so big. So he could have that run where he gets to the top and then just moves up to featherweight. Kind of the way that Conor went up in featherweight and then moved to lightweight. So it's going to be exciting to see. I mean, but who do you match him up next?
I don't know. I know Aldo is tied up, but I've said for a while that I think it would be a great fight to get him.
O'Malley versus Aldo?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a step up in competition. Like,
I think Aldo's. I'm not too impressed with Aldo these days. Like his stock is very low in my mind, which is I think it's I don't think it's the next fight to make, but it's a fight I want to see.
But Aldo's like ranked top 5. O'Malley hasn't faced anybody ranked yet. I was gonna say like give him somebody ranked, like give him like somewhere between 10 and 15. Let's get a number beside his name before you're saying let's face the next title contender.
Yeah, I see Aldo in my mind like he's overvalued in the rankings.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean he's on 2-fight losing streak.
And he's getting a title fight. Like it's stupid. I think O'Malley's on the way in, Aldo's on the way out. 2 stars passing each other on different parts of life. I think it's a good fight.
Yeah, I think it is a little dangerous still.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. If we're talking about O'Malley being the next going on a Conor McGregor like run, you definitely don't want to risk that right now. That's
give him somebody like like a John Dodson.
That'd be not bad.
Where it's kind of a name, but he's kind of on the way out. He's kind of a streaky fighter. Let O'Malley, like no offense to John Dodson, let O'Malley starch him, get that number beside his name, and then just keep you just keep getting him the experience.
Yeah, but I mean, he's really making statements these days, O'Malley, in his last couple of fights. And I mean, this one, Wineland didn't show up to that fight, and that's no knock on Wineland. He just didn't get a chance to show up. O'Malley
before he was staring at the ceiling.
Yeah, before he was staring, man, that was just like he fell like a board. It was nuts.
And that was really the start of the bantamweight showcase on the main card. But, I mean, the next fight there too at welterweight, a little underwhelming, was with Neil Magny beating Anthony Rocco Martin. Good fight. A little underwhelming when you compare it to the rest of the main card, but good fight nonetheless. Magny, he's one of those just perennial contenders at welterweight. Is he going to get a title shot anytime soon? No. Is he going to get into contention? No. But he's just going to be there, and he's going to be kind of that bottom of the main card guy who's going to put on good performance.
And he was productive. He was very productive in that outing. I mean, he was doing twice the damage that Martin was doing.
Yeah, won me some money too, so good for you.
Won you some money, so perfect.
Yeah, I like that. Any other thoughts on that fight?
Not really. Yeah, you kind of said it best, I think. Kind of underwhelming. Still, all props to Magny. Fought great, but it wasn't the showstopper. You know, there was a lot of showstoppers last night.
Yep. And then next, we had Aljamain Sterling beating Corey Sandhagen, which in a fight that I thought should have been for the vacant bantamweight title. Instead, is going to Aldo and Yan, Yan is, you could say, deserving, but Aldo is 100% not. So, I mean, this was hell of a showcase for Sterling here.
This was. I mean, he mocked him. Got one takedown was all he needed. Got that submission very early. I don't think there was probably like 2 hits, like significant strikes, other than they just went right to it.
Well, a minute and a half is all it took to submit him. And I mean, it felt like he got him in this hold in like 20 seconds.
Yeah, because I mean, Sandhagen was just kind of holding on, like he had that choke on him, barely got out. I thought, okay, maybe we're gonna have a fight on our hands, but no, it ended pretty quick.
Yeah, and the fact that by the time that a lot of books had this different, but my book, I got Sterling right before the fight started, and he was at even odds dog. Yeah. So what the hell? Like, how is Sterling? Like, I get Sandhagen's a stud, and then I've said it for a while that Sandhagen is a stud, but Sterling should have been the favorite because there's no reason why Sterling shouldn't have been in a title shot here, and now he has to be in. Like, there has to be a belt on the line for his next fight. He has to get the winner of Aldo Yan.
And that would be whoever it is. I mean, it's not going to be Aldo.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think either Aldo Yan, whoever wins that fight, I think Sterling just takes the belt after.
Yeah, no, that's totally reasonable. And bantamweight, just such a great showcase. I wonder if this was by design that we had 3 bantamweights going the night or a card after Cejudo retires.
Yeah.
It's so nice. You made a great point. You said, well, look at the big divisions. You got the welterweights and the lightweights where all the star power is and where all the intrigue is, but it's locked up. It's all tied up in welterweight. Nobody seems to want to fight each other right now. No one's making enough money. People taking too much risk. Yada yada yada. Like, we'll get to it, but and then lightweight, it's just all this stuff like the Conor Khabib thing is something that needs to happen. But we'll get to the Conor McGregor. I've said this a lot. We'll get to Conor McGregor later, but stuff like that. So everything's held up, and now Cejudo just leaves the bantamweight. And there's a lot of grace on Cejudo's part to kind of look behind him and say, well, there's a lot of guys coming up here. I've done everything I can do. Time to see what else the bantamweight has to offer. And now Dana White comes out the card after and has 3 bantamweight fights on the main card. I think it was a great move, and I'm so excited for this division.
Yeah, I think it's like if you're a true MMA fan, I think bantamweight's a division to watch right now. And with the speed too, it's so fun to watch.
So fast.
I mean, like you look at the co-main event on this card where you had Cody Garbrandt, Rafael Sanso, and you got Garbrandt who his still like his star power. He's co-main event. He's won since 2016, but his star power is so up there. Now going into this fight, like we had talked, I'm like, what do you do if Garbrandt loses this? And then he goes in and gets a buzzer beater at the end of round 2 where he just slept a sunset. Like we're looking at like O'Malley got that knockout. You're like, well, holy shit, there's knockout of the night. And then Cody Garbrandt puts a sunset face down at the end of the buzzer. Like it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones too, is with Garbrandt, how he got well known for his knockout power and his willingness to swing. And then that got him in trouble when he got knocked out 3 times in a row. And so it was good to see him where he was a lot safer this fight, but he was still willing to throw.
And it's a statement, right? You're looking at the bantamweight, you're kind of looking out to see. It's been a while since you've had a win, and you see these guys coming up. The fight before you, you got Sterling, who's now going to be he's in line for a title shot next after all this stuff clears out with Aldo, and then Garbrandt's looking at people saying I may be done after, like people saying, what do you do? These idiots on Big Game Talk are discussing on Zoom. They're saying, what do you do with this guy if he loses? And Garbrandt's like, no. And big knockout. I mean, if this was if he won by decision, it would still be a statement, but this is a much bigger statement given Garbrandt's history as a knockout artist and just that buzzer beater. I thought it was too late. I thought he punched after. And
it was just like he connected, and then as the sunset was falling down, it was perfect. It couldn't have been any better.
Oh, it was so nice. And I mean, then immediately he's like, well, like I had the better knockout. I still think O'Malley's with the turnaround was nicer.
I think Garbrandt's is better. I think Garbrandt's is better.
I get the buzzer beater. I get the buzzer beater.
No, but I think even more than that. I think because O'Malley's, like, don't get me wrong, O'Malley's knockout was nice. I think O'Malley probably had the better walk-off, but Garbrandt had a pretty solid walk-off.
Are you kidding me? Dude, the guy fell flat like a board. He was out in the air. Like, I don't know.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I think Garbrandt had just as good of a knockout then. Like, I think his knockout, like the knockout itself was better. The walk-offs were pretty comparable in being nice. Like, I think Garbrandt's was better. I think Garbrandt both of them put on statements, but like I was saying, what do you do with him if he loses? What are you doing with if he wins now? Do you throw him right back up there with the top echelon? I mean, because the sunset was ranked pretty high. I think he was ranked 5, so you can say Garbrandt's probably going to be 5 now.
Yeah, I think 5, and then
you put him against like Marias.
Maybe.
Or do you give Garbrandt kind of another give him a fight that he can win before you jump him back up there again, get him rolling a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I mean his star power buys him some room to say, because he's a big name on a card, right? He's a big name on a poster.
Oh, he is, yes.
And I think that, I mean, he's in the position to kind of, now that he's made a statement, I think to kind of ask up.
Well, how about this? You got Jan versus Aldo for the vacant belt.
Mm-hmm.
How about Sterling gets winner,
Sterling,
Garbrandt gets loser?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great thing, because I mean, think about it. Let's imagine. So we're giving Garbrandt the loser, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I'm gonna make a prediction here and say Aldo loses. Who knows if I'm right? I think I'm gonna be right. I'm just trashing Aldo today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is a tough pod for Aldo. Yeah.
But anyways, you give him Aldo Garbrandt on a cart, like on a poster, selling tickets.
That's like a fight night main event or a co-main for a pay-per-view.
Oh, that would be so good. That'd be so good. What if, I mean, you put them, you put Sterling, Jan, and then Garbrandt, Aldo first, then you put that title fight there.
That's pretty
one
good.
Night. That's pretty awesome.
When the sad thing is about that name value, Garbrandt versus Aldo does better.
That's true. That's true. But, it's like the first one where their faces are huge and then they're tiny, like just like this one. You know,
but that'd be good. I really like that idea. I think that would be the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the main event.
One thing first. There was a lot of leg kicks in that fight. There was a lot of legs flying around. I just have to say
in the Garbrandt
fight.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the fun thing.
Beat up.
It reminded me when we play UFC 3. Me and Brad, and we, like, one of our favorite fighters to play is, I play Garbrandt, Brad plays Dillashaw, and we just throw legs at each other until somebody breaks their leg. And that's what this fight kind of reminded me of. They were throwing a lot of leg kicks.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to the agility of the bantamweight division. It's a very fun division. I love this bantamweight showcase because these guys are so quick. They're using all their body. It's really fun to watch. It's a fun division to watch.
And like the top 10 in the bantamweight division right now can compete against any other top 10 in any other weight class. And it's been a while since you could say that for one of the the bantamweight, one of the really smaller divisions.
Yeah, for sure. And now the timing is so good. Meanwhile, like in the UFC, and we're gonna get to the star power issues.
Do you want to get to that? Because we already talked about the main event. So do you want to get to some of that right now?
Yeah, well, to preface it, right, to say, okay, there's all this star power problem going at the higher divisions, and you have in bantamweight, if you're Dana White, you're golden, because you're the guy that was kind of holding and I don't want to say holding everything up, because he was taking fights, he was beating guys, just holding things up just with his dominance. Henry Cejudo, he just clears out just when all these guys are coming up. And everyone wants to fight. Everybody's excited. Everybody wants their shot. It's perfect. It's a perfect situation for Dana White, especially in light of all this star power issues that's happening in the higher divisions that we're going to get to right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want to go the first one? There's really 3 to choose from. So you want to go first? We're late to the party on this. I'd say let's talk about Jon Jones.
Yeah.
So is the light heavyweight belt going to be vacated? That's a question. Start off right there. Like, your honest opinion, do you think that the next title fight for the light heavyweight championship, Jon Jones is in?
That's tough. Because I'm going to say, like, for the sake of argument, because I really don't know, I'm going to say, let's say no. Let's say it's not him. And here's why, right?
Okay.
I think Jon Jones is a huge star. Yes. Pound for pound, one of the greatest of all times. Yes. Is he a huge draw though?
No.
He's not a big draw. He's never been able.
And the stats back that up. Like
the stats back that up. That's no shade. Like, there's no shade at him. It's just facts. He's just not a big draw. And
part of that right now is the light heavyweight division. Because one of the biggest drawing cards is Jones Cormier, but he doesn't have that competition. I mean, you could look at Reyes, but no fault to really anybody that Reyes is he's not going to draw. No.
And so he's not, well, now I'm killing my argument here when you say that, because I was going to say he's not a huge draw. So Dana White is kind of in a position to say, well, okay, you're going to lip about about vacating your title, okay, I'm going to take your title away. And it's kind of like the kid, the spoiled rotten kid, you're taking his toy away. Dana White could do that very well. But then what are you going to replace him? Because as you said, I mean, part of the reason Jon Jones isn't a big draw because there's not a lot of guys in the light heavyweight division that are big draws. So who are you going to replace him with to make it worthwhile to get rid of Jon Jones? So
the title fight would be
I really don't know.
Yeah, the title fight would be Reyes versus Blachowicz, which is exactly why I think that Jon Jones will be holding the light heavyweight title and fighting the next championship fight, is because what sells a lot worse than Jones versus Blachowicz is Reyes versus Blachowicz. And like that's a competitive fight, but it's just one of your marquee weight classes, the light heavyweight, one of the classes that with the Liddells, the Tito Ortiz's kind of made the UFC.
Yeah.
There has to be a key headliner there. And I think like Jones is gonna, I mean, if you're Jon Jones, like he's gonna pout about it, he's gonna bitch and whine that he's not getting Deontay Wilder money in the middle of a pandemic without a gate. He's gonna come to realize like, hey, I'm under contract, so can't do anything else. And then I'm going to go in and like the whole world still hates me because I'm a piece of shit. And he's going to go in and just fight the next in line. Because I think a lot of it is like he's talking about he wants all this extra money to go up to face Ngannou. Because it started with he wanted to go up and face Ngannou. He wanted a lot of extra money, which understandable to get more money to move up and face somebody probably 40 pounds heavier than you. But like Dana White said, he asked for an exorbitant amount. I mean, Jon Jones is saying that he didn't, but it's one of those things. If you want to move up, move up.
Yeah.
Like if it's about the money, you know what I mean? Like, is he just making a statement to stir stuff up and then ask for an amount of money that he knows he's not going to get just so he doesn't have to? Like, if it's about just moving up, testing yourself and getting there, do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, interesting tweets coming out from it, like lots of interesting tweets. But one he said, like he did the, I'm gonna butcher it. I don't speak Latin, but it's like the Vendi voodoo or whatever. It's the I came, I saw, I conquered. You know, and it was kind of weird seeing him tweet that after saying, oh, I want to go up to to heavyweight to fight Ngannou, and then saying, oh, I need money to do it. And if you really want to say I came, I saw, I conquered, go up to the heavyweight division and beat Francis Ngannou, because right now he's been living in his comfort zone. The light heavyweight division has been Jon Jones's comfort zone for a very long time. And if you want to really be a star, you have to get out of that comfort zone. Get out.
But I completely agree with you. But it also too, like the timing of it made no sense, because if you're Jon Jones, why are you moving up for not a title? And like part of the thing is like I could see the UFC being like, why do we want to do this fight to have two marquee guys go at it without a title? Yeah, because you're not stripping Stipe. Yeah, and you're not like what? So it doesn't make any sense.
And you're gonna spoil a run for you. It's 50-50. Who are you gonna like? Ngannou's on the up again. Jon Jones has been on the up for a long time. You're gonna spoil that for one of those guys, and there's no title on the line. It just doesn't make sense. It really, and now this, I mean, there's storylines, like, I don't know if I believe it, but it's the whole, okay, you are so afraid of Dominic Reyes that you're going to go up to you're talking about going up to heavyweight to fight Ngannou. I don't think that's true, but at the same time, you will open, like when you said all these things, you open the door for people to say you're skirting a Reyes. And if he never fights Reyes, that's going to be the monkey on his back for the rest of his life.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's going to be.
Okay, but here's the thing. Do you think he has to face Thiago Santos again? Do you think that a fight absolutely has to happen? Because Thiago Santos was a split decision, and Dominic Reyes was a unanimous decision. Well, so in terms of like on paper, the Santos fight was closer, and then you could make a really good argument that Santos won that fight, and a year later, nobody's saying that fight has to happen again.
So you're calling me out on my recency bias, and you're completely right, and you kind of killed my point there. Yeah. So all that to say, you're right, Brad. You're right.
I appreciate that. And I mean,
but still, I mean, right now in the immediate, maybe not for the rest, but right now it's a storyline, And the idiots who do sports podcasts for 10 listeners a week, they have...
Hey, bleep that out. Nobody needs to know our numbers.
People can see the numbers, Brad. And it's probably worse than what I just said. No.
Yeah, that's real tough. Okay, for the Jon Jones situation, it was summed up best by Chael Sonnen when he said, as long as he's walking away, not driving away. And then you want to talk about George Masdival next?
George Masdival. Oh, my God.
He literally, we can just copy and paste what we just said about Jon Jones, because that's what Masvidal's doing. He's doing the exact same thing where he's pulling the, I don't get paid enough. One of the things that he stuck out, he said, why would I come back and fight for half what I made my last fight? And the thing is, you had a Nate Diaz draw your last fight with a gate. That's why you made a lot more money. When you bring in the BMF title, you're fighting Nate Diaz at MSG with a live gate and the fucking Rock giving you the title afterwards. Of course, you're gonna make more money.
Yeah,
I'm not like
MSG, and that's a great point too. MSG is just a different animal.
Yes,
it's a completely different animal. It's the capital. It's the mecca of the fighting world.
And it was I think the highest buy gate of 2019 for the UFC too. Mm-hmm. Like that, and that is like. Masvidal, you had a hell of a run. So, like, that is, like, a lot but it's probably more Nate Diaz. And there was a really good undercard for that, too.
Yeah.
So, him versus Usman, great fight. Great fight. I think it draws.
Yeah, but not
you can,
Diaz
like,
numbers.
Case in point, like, you had Masvidal Diaz in, I think, November, and then Usman Covington in December. Masvidal Diaz sold more than Usman Covington. Mm-hmm. And Usman Covington was for the title and had years of bad blood, like a lot of tension, like every type of tension that you could want. And then the Nate Diaz one sold more, so that's why Masvidal. That's and then it's again, why are these fighters they're asking for so much more money without the gate and in the middle of a pandemic?
Well, why
doesn't make any sense.
Why are they? You know what doesn't make sense, Brad? Why these MLB players are I'm just
No, but the difference is the MLB players aren't going and saying, I want more money because everybody's going to be watching us during a pandemic. Where the UFC fighters are being like, well, we're the only thing on, so we want more money. That's the difference. Like, the MLB players are saying, pay me at least, like, somewhat of my contract, and UFC guys are going, add a few zeros to my contract. There's a difference.
That's true.
Yeah, this is just the Brad flexes on Chris Pod this week. But Masvidal, like, what are we doing here? And they asked for his release. Like, you're not getting released. You got what, 4 fights left? You're not getting released. I think that's not happening. And all you're doing is you're just screwing yourself out of a title shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because now you've let Gilbert Burns come in, put on a solid performance over a former champ, come out there and pretty much respectfully just be like, look it, I'm good, I'm healthy. I want in next. And as soon as he said that, I was like, well, get in line, bud, because it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
And then you look at Masvidal pulling this shit. You look at Covington pulling the stuff that he pulls. I'm Dana White, I'm going, yeah, you know what? Gilbert Burns, you're getting it.
Yeah, it's a statement. Gilbert doesn't have to win. Dana White just has to put him in. Mm-hmm. And Dana has just made a statement to the Jon Joneses, to the Masvidals, to the Covingtons, like all these, to the McGregors. Like, Dana White is looking like he's the parent in this situation, and the kids are walking all over him. And if he puts Burns in against Usman next, then he's just made a statement saying it's not going to be tolerated. And there's guys waiting in the wings who are capable, who are like more than capable, actually. Like they're competitive, and they're willing to fight. They just want to fight, and that's what's going to win in the end. That is always
they want the opportunity. That's all they want. Like they just want the opportunity.
They don't care. Burns, he probably doesn't care what he gets paid. He just cares about the gold. Cares about the belt. He cares.
And Usman's his teammate too.
Usman's his team. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, he's just willing. I don't care. I'll go fight him. I want that gold. And that's what's going to win. That's what fans want to see. Fans don't want to see these guys saying when a lot of UFC fans are out of work right now because of coronavirus, and Jon Jones and Masvidal are saying, well, add a couple zeros to my name when there's no gate, when the UFC is suffering a little bit, they're surviving, but they're hurt, just like every other business. And the fans see that, and then they look at a guy like Gilbert Burns, who comes in, makes a huge statement against Woodley, and then comes in and says, well, hey, I just beat the number one contender. I guess that means I should be getting a title shot soon.
I'm the number one contender.
I'm the number one contender. So and Gilbert is willing to fight. He wants to fight. Meanwhile, I mean, this whole time the Usman Masvidal stuff, they're playing. It's like we're watching some high school sitcom. There's this will they, won't they thing with them fighting. Like they've been skirting each other for a long time.
Well, they had a skirmish at Super Bowl Media Week.
Yeah.
They're literally like what they could have. There was talks to book the fight then, and they had like a run in Super Bowl Media Week. This fight could have happened before coronavirus started. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, figure it out.
And Burns just comes in. It's like NASCAR to jump ahead to us. Two cars are going, and all of a sudden they just bam, bam, and then Burns just comes out.
Yeah,
right
like
through.
when the stuff with Masvidal has been started, Burns was like in the 10s ranked. Like what the hell is going on here? Like it's like these fighters think that they're doing themselves a favor, like waiting out for the money and everything. And they end up just shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, and because it's like Masvidal, you're talking about like you're fighter of the year in 2019. At least I think he was. He should have been at least because he had undoubtedly best year of any fighter. But so what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
and it's interesting to see. I mean the trickle down effect, because it starts with Jon Jones and everybody. That was kind of unheard of to renounce your title over Twitter, and then all of a sudden like that trickles on and gets a seed gets planted in Masvidal's head and he says, ooh, like I could do that and that could get me something. I could threaten to leave, and then he does it. And then to get into our next discussion, Conor McGregor decides to do it, and
he just. What was it, a half hour after UFC 250, he decides to retire, and he put a little different of a post though. You got to admit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he had the chocolate cake that is like I guess his kid made, and it's like happy retirement, Dad. That was a great touch. That was a great touch, and I think honestly, this is well, you have a good point about Conor McGregor and his media antics.
For me, I'm getting, and I mean, like, I'm a McGregor fan. I got the proper 12 here and everything, but it is getting a little sickening after every single fight card. You can just set a timer for about 15 minutes, and then he's going to send out a tweet because it's, hey, look at me, don't forget about me. And it's just like once in a while, it's okay. Like, I get it. You're the biggest draw in the UFC, but every single time just gets to be sickening. And now his retirement here, this is the third time in 4 years he's tweeted out about a retirement. But it was a little different this time, where it was there's nothing interests me. There's nothing, like pretty much there's nothing that interests me right now. I'm not interested in sitting around and waiting. So I'm done. Yeah. And he's got the money to do it. So it's never a situation where it's like financially you need to come back. Mm-hmm. Do I think he's fought his last fight? Probably not. Mm-hmm. I think for a long time he has though.
Yeah.
Because I think like there really is. There's nothing for him right now. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that makes sense. Yeah. So, and to be quite honest, if he came out and did that, and then he actually like shut the hell up for a while, I gotta respect it. I mean, like, there's no point in like forcing things and everything if you're Conor McGregor, because you've done everything that you can do in this sport.
Yeah, but I think, frankly, like I think it's a troll. I think it's a Conor McGregor troll. He's not done. Either that or he's deciding to go into boxing for good. You know,
but then it's like you're on a UFC contract, so that's tough.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Because I think, I mean, with all this stuff happening, I think Conor McGregor just sat back, watched Jon Jones end up with egg on his face, watched Masdival end up with egg on his face, and was saying, these guys think they're so like tough. You know, I'm going to say it. And I think and then with the cake, like, it's so perfect. I think he's just parodying what's going on in the UFC right now.
Well, and two, you look
with
at like
the
with
dual
Jones and
purpose
Masvidal, yeah, and Jones
with
and Masvidal asking for more money, with McGregor sitting there being like, "I'm the only person on the roster. They can ask for whatever the hell I want and get it."
and think about it too, right? I was having dinner with my family today, and a couple people at the table who are not really UFC people. They're not even sports people. They knew that Conor McGregor had retired. They had no idea that who Jon Jones is. They had no idea who Masdival is, but they knew, like, when it happened, following the news, whatever, on whatever newspaper you read or website you go on, they knew Conor McGregor had retired, and that's the Conor McGregor effect. We've talked about it many times, and I feel like Conor just said, "Oh, like, you guys think you have the best retirement tweet? Hold my beer, or hold my proper 12."
Yeah, no, I see your point. It's a very good point, and like I think you're probably right there. Like you're swaying me here. Like I think you're probably right, but I think it's a long time before we see him. Like it's not in 2020.
Well, I mean, because you were the one. I was kind of lukewarm to it. Because I thought, Conor McGregor on a quarantine card where there's no sports on. I think it would be a huge pay-per-view sell of course. You think about what the numbers 249 did, and then you look at the numbers Conor's done in the past in the Cowboy fight. Huge. Like the biggest paydays for Dana White have been Conor McGregor nights. Think about, you combine there's no other sports on to watch with Conor McGregor, you have something. But at the same time, like, I'm not an expert on how television or pay-per-view ratings rate to or compare to gate and what's the kind of difference if one is better than the other. I really don't know. But I understand your point when you say you got to hold off McGregor to when we can have a gate. And if you're going to do that, Conor's sitting on his ass and he's saying, well, you're not going to use me. I might as well stay relevant. How do I stay relevant? Well, this is what all the cool kids are doing. I'm going to show them up and do it just like they do, but I'm going to have a retirement cake. How awesome is that? Like, if this is a troll, I mean,
because didn't he say too, like, thanks for the cake, I'm out?
Yeah, he baked himself, or I think he said thanks to his like son or something like that. So his family baked a cake for the troll, if it's a troll.
Yeah,
that's not Conor McGregor. I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's the sad thing is about this is like the day whenever Conor McGregor actually retires, nobody's gonna believe him.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Brett Favre.
Yeah,
No,
but here's a question for you: if his next fight is Floyd Mayweather in a boxing fight, are you upset?
No.
Okay,
no.
I was gonna say, because to be quite honest, I would be completely fine to see that.
I
don't want to see 8 months of build up though. I want to see it happen just quick.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'll say to that too is, I mean, I wouldn't mind Conor McGregor saying, I've done all I can do in the MMA. Khabib, like, if I'm going to stay in the MMA, I have to beat Khabib, and that's a tall order. That's a tall order. And the thing is, Conor McGregor, his wrestling, he keeps the last few, like against Cowboy, he was in the press conference, he was saying how great his wrestling had been. He's learned from his mistake, going up against Khabib, not ready to wrestle, and he's getting better. If he just said, you know what, it's too hard to beat Khabib, but I think I can beat a striker in a boxing match. I think that's the path. That's the path, because and let's say you beat Khabib, what do you do next? Well, Conor, like, the pressure is going to push him up to 170, where he's going to get bent over by the guys at the top. And who knows, it's going to be Gilbert Burns maybe by the time that happens. And Burns, if he's beat Usman, like, he mucks Conor McGregor. So there's a lot, like, to stay in the UFC, unless you want to be middle of the pack guy, which I don't think Conor McGregor at this point in his career wants to be a middle of the pack guy.
No.
And that's unless you beat Khabib, which I'm not saying is impossible, but I'm saying he's not going to be the favorite in a rematch against Khabib. But if you went into boxing and said, okay, this time I've gone after the big guy, the Mayweather, give me a guy that I can actually probably beat and let me work my way up in the boxing world. That's an interesting that's an interesting career change, and that's something that people are going to want to see. And you're making more money from boxing.
Yeah, you make more money in one boxing fight than 5 UFC fights.
And he never has to wrestle again. That weak spot, you just don't have to worry about him. He could stick to his strengths. I think that when I saw the Conor McGregor tweet that he retired, I still think it's a troll, but at the same time, he may be setting that up. Because I think if you're going to go into boxing again, yeah, Mayweather would be a huge draw, but you're going to lose again, most likely. I mean, you're not going to be the favorite. So he's
going to lose again. He's going to
lose again. Go up against a guy you can beat and then work your way up in the boxing world. Because think about how sick it would be to see a Conor McGregor winning in boxing.
I agree. I agree wholeheartly. There's a long process of getting him out of his UFC contract before he does that.
For sure.
But I think I'd be very okay to see that. And his style fits boxing a lot more. Because boxing is a lot of like, I don't want to fight anybody who I'm going to lose to. I want all the money in the world. You're going to take like 3 years to make the fight that really should happen. Fight a couple ducks before that.
Yeah.
And like his style at this point in his career, it fits boxing. And like, I mean, boxing is a broken sport right now, but I mean, he fits in it, and he'd be an immediate star.
Yeah.
So,
it's a new audience to sell proper. I mean, there's a lot of shared fans between boxing and MMA, but there's still guys
wasn't
that
proper 12 on the canvas for Fury Wilder.
Pretty sure. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So just like appeal to those new, like the people that are only boxing. Now it's a whole new audience base to sell your proper 12 to, which is the number one Irish whiskey according to Conor McGregor's Twitter.
Okay, so it's got to be true.
It's got to be true. I'm pretty sure like one of the countries known for whiskey. Conor McGregor has the best whiskey from it.
Yeah, well,
that's the Conor McGregor effect.
Exactly. So a lot of stuff going on in the UFC.
Lots of interesting stuff. And I mean, it's hard. Like it's interesting how this stuff it's very balanced on the side of we have a bunch of stars being stars and being annoying and getting the fans angry. And then on the other hand, we have, a lot of great fights from this weekend. So it's been a balance. It's good balance, I think. I agree.
And then we're coming up next weekend with probably the worst main event in UFC history with Cynthia Calvillo versus Jessica Ai. So I don't think there's any need to talk about that.
No.
Do you want to talk about? Is there any other sports news that we got?
You got NASCAR going on.
Yeah, we had the Folds of Honor 500 today. Just happened right before we started recording. Kevin Harvick won. Good for him. He actually, I watched the race. He led for probably half the laps, and by the end of it, he was destroying the race. Like he won it pretty handily. That's one thing. I have never watched NASCAR before this quarantine. If you haven't the same, go ahead and watch it. Bet on it. Bet the race matchups, not the winner. It's fun as shit.
Yeah.
It's very enjoyable. The commentating is very good. It keeps you into it. So I would recommend.
Yeah. If you're a sports gambler that's not watching NASCAR right now, you're crazy, because sports betting was invented for horses. What is NASCAR but mechanical horses? So
exactly.
It's betting in its purest form.
And if you love the long shots, take the winner. If you like somebody like me, I like the race matchups where it's 1 versus 1. So you're getting them at like the -110, -120 odds, and it's like they just got to beat the one other guy. So you can throw a whole bunch out there, and that's like it's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah. So
and then a word from our sponsor to close her out here.
Let's hear from FNX Fit.
So we're brought to you by Phoenix Fit here. They're formulated by athletes for athletes. Their mission is to provide fuel for greatness. They're built for strength, engineered for endurance, and designed for recovery. Their supplements provide the necessary fuel to help you rise from the ashes. So every time a purchase is made at, like Chris said, fnxfit.com, a child in need receives a gallon of clean water. To date, they've donated over 104,000 gallons of clean drinking water. So use our promo code BGT15 at fnxfit.com
www.biggametotalk.com. Check the link in the description if you want, and support some kids in need with some clean drinking water, and support your favorite podcast.
Win-win. Win-win-win. Everybody's winning with that. And they have everything. They have everything. Your pre-workout, your protein, your CBD for the recovery. They got it all. And
apparel
clothes,
too.
Apparel to look good in. If you're working out right now, they got you covered.
Yep. So make sure to check them out, and make sure to check us out on Instagram at Big Game Talk, Twitter at Big Game Talk. Our YouTube channel, if you're watching it here, you can check us out on our podcast, Spotify, iTunes, or Podbean, and vice versa. Make sure to check us out on YouTube.
Yep. And email.
Email
talk at gmail.com. If you want us to talk about something, if you have a reaction to, we'll read out your email on the podcast. So say anything, really, within reason. I mean, we do kind of monitor to the thing. Like, we do peruse it first. We're not going to read it live, and you're going to get us to say something bad. So don't even try. But we'll read your email on the podcast. And if you can email us and tell us who our favorite NASCAR driver is, we'll give you $5. That
has been outstanding for a little while here. So if you are a regular listener to this podcast, you should know.
We are talking to you, Brock. Make some of that $20 back.
But if you listen, you should really know who it is.
Yeah. Oh.
And even like, go check out episode 5 if you want.
Yeah, go check out episode 5. It's fire. But
and that's where
don't tell my boss. When you get to the end, don't tell my boss.
But that's where we said who our favorite driver was.
Yes. Yeah, we're telling you. We're telling you where to find it. It's a free $5.
Yeah. So check it out.
And it's a good listen too. We peaked episode 5, I'm pretty sure.
No.
It's all been downhill from here.
No, I don't know.
Because episode 6 we started showing our faces.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so that's tough. I couldn't scroll Instagram while we were talking anymore.
Yeah. Were you scrolling Instagram?
Oh, I know.
It's okay. I was playing video games.
All right. Until next week, guys.
Until next week.
Peace.
See you later.